Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This will be a quick one. Behind me, 2008 Chevy Cobalt. I've been seeing a lot of this car lately. We're gonna be replacing the timing chain tensioner. Some manuals will say you have to pull the timing chain off in order to do this, or you have to reset the timing in order to do this, but you do not. Let me show you a little workaround. First thing we want to do is get the air box out of the way. We'll be pulling off the valve cover. Takes just a couple of minutes. There's a gray tab here. We can pull our mass airflow sensor connector off. Pliers gets this clamp off. We'll pull this hose up. There we go. There's another hose clamp here. Pull that off. And then a flathead screwdriver on this end will get this clamp off our throttle body. And then the air filter, like that. Come up and out. There we go. Gray tab pushed back. We'll pull these connectors off. 10 mil for our ignition coils. All right, now our fuel line has two brackets holding it on, two 10 millimeters. Now our fuel rail is loose. That's all we have to do with that. Now our valve cover, they're all 10 millimeter bolts. And now I'll pull it right up and out. Now let me pull you around to this side. We want to set our timing in a specific spot. So most cars will have a splash shield covering the crank pulley. So you may have to jack the vehicle up, pull the tire off to take that splash shield off. There's just a couple of bolts, a couple of clips, comes off relatively easy. You don't necessarily have to take it all the way off, just bent out of the way so you can get access to the crank pulley bolt. Because now we need to turn the engine in the right spot to set the timing. Now this vehicle does not have that splash shield. At some point in its life, it was never put back on. So in that case, just turn the wheel all the way to the right, and that gives us access to that bolt. So I moved this box out of the way just so you can get better shots of the cam. Let me crank the engine over. The crank pulley bolt is a 21 millimeter. Okay, let me zoom you in a little. It's not showing up the best, but right here on the intake side, it says INT. You want that about a 45-degree angle, and that'll put this side, the exhaust, should say EXH. You want that about a 45 also, opposing each other. That's cylinder one at top dead center. So this is where we want our timing. So now, just in case something abnormal happens, I'm gonna take a rag, just wipe off the chain right over the EXH and the INT. And I'm going to take a colored marker, permanent marker, and color that link right over the top of those positions. So if anything happens, we know exactly which link goes on which tooth. Just a precaution. Now we can pull our timing chain tensioner off. It's a 32 millimeter socket. It lives right here under the exhaust cam. Give that a push. There we go. After a few turns, it should be able to come out by hand. Now your cams should not move on you, but just in case, that's why we have them marked. There we go. Got it out. Well, the new one goes in, and we tighten it up. All right, there we go. Nothing moved on us. Put our valve cover back on. Now would be a good time to get a new valve cover gasket if you need one. Just put this back over. Make sure all your wires are out of the way. There we go. We'll tighten those down to 89 inch-pounds. Ignition coils, new spark plugs too if it's time for them. We have our fuel line brackets. The one with the stud goes right here in the back. Now our airbox stuff goes back on. Now it may be a little tricky. You want to put this on first, this little hose, and then bring it around. We want to make sure that our boot goes completely over our throttle body. There we go. Flathead to tighten it up. There may also be a clip right here. This one is gone, so I didn't mention it before, but if there is a clip, we just want to pull that off. But you'd know that by now. Pair of pliers for this. Put this hose back on. Plug in our mass airflow. And that's it, we're done. All right, there you go. That's how you can change a timing chain tensioner on a Chevy Cobalt. Not a whole lot to it. Now, if you did have to take the tire off and that splash shield, go ahead and put that all back on. I didn't show it because this one didn't have it, so yay me. Now the chain should not slip in one way or the other if we have it at top dead center. If our timing is right from the beginning, we won't have an issue. But marking that chain is just a helpful guide in case we think it slipped or something happened, we know where to put it back. All right, well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.